All right. Welcome to the Choose on Purpose podcast, where leaders live with intention. I'm your host, Becky Plautz, and today I'm in a new location, on location, and with a returning guest on the show, Ashley. Hi, Ashley.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me again.
Well, thank you for having me in your studio today. I'm so excited I got to travel to come to Appleton area and get to be in Ashley's space because after this, she's going to do a Reiki session with me in person.
Yeah.
So super excited to get to do a deeper dive with you on your Muse experience that we had. It was literally like 6 months ago that the last time we did your podcast, which doesn't seem even possible that it was so long ago,
It doesn't. That's
right? It
wild.
was like December.
Yeah.
And it's May.
Yeah.
So
That is wild.
it's like, oh my gosh.
Well, and we started, I think, the end of October with the coaching calls and stuff like that too. That
Yep.
doesn't seem possible. That's over like
That
6
long
months
ago.
Yeah.
I know so much happens in so little time.
Yes.
So Ashley is beautiful, bright, and bold. She is a woman remembering and finding her light after some dark and dreary seasons. And I want to start here, not with what you did, but who you are now. And I'm already going to take my jacket off. I did this earlier too. I was like, I get going and I get so warm that I'm like, maybe it's the light too.
Yeah, might be.
But we're good. I'll just strip a little bit. We'll just get down to it. So starting out to talk to Ashley, I wanted to, before we step into this experience, before we get going, you said you were navigating life through the lens of fear, especially fear of being seen and heard. So for anyone that's listening, as a reminder, these Muse interviews about their experience, they have done a little deep dive, or extensive. It's pretty extensive. There's a form that I send to them after they complete their photo shoot, their coaching, and to help with this podcast interview, where now I'm going back to Ashley after 6 months and just seeing like keeping in touch with her and hearing the things behind the scenes what's unfolding in her life has just been so cool that I'm like, girl, would you come back on? And like now I'm kind of leaned into this process with the podcast that she was like, of course, let's talk about it more. So as I'm going through these questions in the flow of the podcast, she's had time to really digest more about what was coming up for her through that. Because I gave her the form to kind of work through that so that when she gets on here today, you know, it's not just like the first time she's considering how she felt in the process. So that's why it feels like such an easy flow, is because she's kind of gave herself some time to digest like these types of questions and the depth that we went in. So with that being said, okay, so talking about the fear of being seen and heard, what did that actually look like in your day-to-day life?
So that was more, I feel like I was sitting more on the sidelines of life. So like just that like unsure fear of like getting started, doing something different, stepping out of my comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
And that I created that. And I feel like I kind of created a box that I like just let myself stay in. And then sometimes you stay in there, you don't grow in there. Sometimes you start to feel like you're rotting. And yeah, I was just ready for something different. And it was scary. It was really scary because I didn't know what I didn't know. A lot of times I feel like I was letting other people's stories kind of mold my reality. And once I kind of like, I had to take a step back and do like some own internal reflection and just taking time for me, really pouring back into myself and my self-care, and not like the typical self-care of like bubble baths and everything, like actual like deeper self-care, like what do I need for myself to set myself up for the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
And like just having that process and feeling the confidence to blossom or step out of that comfort zone.
You're using such rich words like rot. Yes. And what was the other one you just said? Mold is another one I heard you say. I'm like, oh, those words feel so gross and dingy and like, but it's true. Like I can hear that and be like, oh, that's a good way to describe the depths of like you feeling like you were ready for something, but you didn't know what, you know, and then when you saying blossom, like the gardening
Yes.
words are so like rich with like what is felt through the experience for so many women that that I love that. So where were you holding yourself back the most? So like before the, of course we're talking about before the
Yep,
experience.
before the experience.
Yeah.
I think it felt like everywhere, but like showing up and showing up in any situation as me, not as like a filtered version of me.
Yeah.
As like a, okay, what scenario am I going into? What part am I going to be? And now I'm kind of more like, okay, well, this is who I am. And here I am. You like it? You don't? And yeah,
Showing up. Yeah, being willing to do that. And authentically, you know, just being more you than what do they want me to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And I've been in different situations that in the past would have like kind of spun me out into something a little bit more negative, or in that headspace of like that whatever story was going on, and being able to show up in different places helped me realize that like I can show up and I can be me, and I don't have to let all that stuff go through my mind and filter through my brain. I can live without cycling that story.
It doesn't have to be a part of, you know, consideration. Honestly, like you just showing up and being you and leaving that wherever it is, you know?
Yes.
So one of the things I wanted to ask too is like, where do you think the belief that your voice didn't matter come from? Like, or that the showing up and you had to hide specifically, since that's what you were talking about. Like, where do you think that came from?
I think it like came from younger versions of me that have been like too much kind of things. And then like that good girl, sit down, like behave kind of thing. And then I think I broke that down a little bit as I moved through life. And then truly when COVID hit, that really just like almost silenced me because I was so we didn't know what we didn't know.
Yeah.
And it was almost detrimental to me that I didn't speak up. I just kind of just shut down.
And is it because of your work or?
I think it was quite a bit of things, but yeah, probably more work in that situation.
So for anyone that doesn't know, what do you do for work? Like the 2020, it was affected.
Yep. So I'm a hairstylist. So we were deemed as
unessential or
whatever the word unessential or whatever. So that was really tricky.
Non-essential.
Non-essential. Yep. Yeah. Yep. So that was the first time in my life and in my career that I was forced to not work, and outside of my circumstances. Like I never said, oh, hey, I'm taking 8 or 12 weeks or whatever it was off. Yeah. It was like, boop, the rug was almost like pulled out from underneath. And I'm like, okay, here we go. Now what? So yeah. And I had some health struggles during that time that really, it was just a dark time. And I think I just lost a lot of my way. And so it feels like life is getting brighter and brighter and brighter the more I walk through. And I feel like the Muse experience really helped me feel like I could shine and be the light that I know I am. And now I see. Yeah. And I have like proof of it. Like, oh, look, oh, okay. Like whatever I think, but here it is, you know?
Yeah, I love it. You sent me a snap recently about like you hung up your images and your photos within your room or?
Yep. We had some people, we had got a new mattress. So I didn't really want those up until, so we were very mindful of when I put them up because I'm like, okay, I just don't want any random like delivery guy being like, hey.
That's so funny to say that. I had a client in the past, like years ago, that her and her husband came and did photos, and their images are like on like the back headboard or something, like area of their room. And there actually was a scenario where they needed an ambulance to come in to help him. And they saw the pictures and he was like, isn't my wife hot? And he was just like leaning into it. It was, I love this story so much. Because when I heard that, I was like, he did not. And I was like, just kidding. I know him so well. He definitely did. He was so proud.
That's awesome. Yes, and my husband probably would have been the same too, but I'm just like, just wait till I don't know who's coming into my house, and
Yeah, that's hilarious. But yeah, delivery people or
yeah,
the
yes, yep, you
what
never,
a surprise.
yep, yep,
But I like that it's a reminder,
yes,
and that you did get that out there
yep, absolutely.
for yourself. Okay. So you said something powerful that when something feels big or scary, it's usually exactly what you need. So what made you trust that this time, like in applying and then saying yes to the invitation to be in the Muse experience? Uh, Tell me about that.
So, I had seen your post
Mm-hmm.
for a while, and I think it was like several weeks, and I was like, oh, and I would like start typing,
Hesitation.
yep, and then I'd be like, oh no, don't do that, don't do that, and then I'd be like, and it would keep coming up, and I was like, I'm just gonna shoot my shot, and I just filled it out and was like, whatever happens, happens,
Yeah.
and then I was like, hey, well, I already sent it, so I guess it's out there. So there was a lot of mixed emotions, but so glad I did. And like with other things in my life that I've been like super scared or nervous to do, it seems like the bigger, the scarier, the more I need something out of it, or the more it helps me to grow or just to evolve in a different way than I had anticipated originally.
Yeah. What what did saying yes represent about who you were becoming?
I think it was just like it felt like kind of like kicking a door open, being like, okay,
Oh,
here I am. Like, I'm ready for this.
I love it. I can see that with the disco balls and like, bam, here I
Yep,
come,
yep,
baby.
yep. Like,
Ready to
yep, it's
shine.
been too closed off for too long. So watch out,
Yeah.
here to go.
Yeah. Okay, I don't have this in my notes, but I do remember you sharing that you were even like looking for a sign when you were going to say yes.
Yes.
And
Yep.
then you were like, I didn't actually see the sign, Becky, so I'm still like kind of questioning it. And then you're like, but I'm trusting. And then it was like you saw it like right
Yep.
after the
Yes.
decision was made,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Am
And
I
that has
remembering that
happened to
right?
me several, yes.
Okay.
Yep. Several different times with different things. Like, for example, totally doesn't seem big, but
Yeah.
for the space in the kind of container that I don't want to say locked myself in, but kept myself kind of in being smaller. I had an opportunity to go down to Chicago to see one of my mentors.
Mm.
And it was like a super last minute, like Friday on Instagram. I was like, they're going to be in Chicago. I need to make this work. So then I like moved everything, kind of just
Yeah.
was like, okay, Sunday I'm
made it go.
going. And the whole way I'm like, okay, I need a sign. And then I'm like,
The sign is
okay,
already in the car.
the sign is I'm just gonna drive there and I'm not gonna buy the ticket. If I get all the way to Chicago and I decide that like it doesn't feel aligned,
You
and I
didn't
want to go,
ticket?
nope. And I was like, if they had them at the door, so it was
Okay,
okay.
okay,
And
okay.
like it was more than okay to like sign up at the door because it was like a 3 day
Like,
event. Yes, yeah, very
okay.
interesting. But I thought, hey, if nothing else,
Yeah.
I'm in Chicago and I'll go shopping or do something like, something that doesn't
Yeah.
feel as scary. And then, yeah, I was at a rest stop and I'm like, well, nope, I'm doing this. I ordered my ticket and I'm like, how many hours or, bit till I'm there. And it was so funny because I stopped at one of the Oasises, it changed and did my
Yeah.
makeup and everything. And it was just so cool. I was still nervous going by myself with thousands of hairdressers.
Yeah.
That I'm like, okay, well, nobody's gonna look at it. So it was good. It was good. I got some really great education, got to see my mentor, and then
Yeah.
yeah, it was such what I needed. And then it wasn't until after that experience, like a couple days later, then I saw the sign. And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't need it to
Yeah.
take that jump. But then I saw it kind of as like a confirmation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Confirming that you're in the right direction.
yep.
And direction is so much. I think direction is the powerful thing. We don't need to know the plan. We need to know the direction.
Yes.
And when we feel into the intuitively and like the knowing of a direction that we go into, then that's where the trust is that whatever's next is gonna unfold. And so yeah, direction more than planned out execution is where like my lately.
I think even taking a step though too And even if it may not feel like it's in the direction, but even just stepping out of where you're at and making that little move
Yeah.
is always helpful too.
Yeah. Well, and things like the Muse Experience, like going to, see your mentor at this conference, these aren't just experiences that you're saying yes to. You're saying yes to yourself, and you're saying yes to your future self to know,
Yes.
like, this is taking courage. This is like a brave thing that I'm saying yes to, because you're stepping out of your everyday normal, experiences in the way that you're going through your life. So it's a yes to you and a yes to the experience so that you have the opportunity to grow.
Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, that's amazing. I love the example too about like going to the conference and like how many times can you as a listener relate to that? Like, when have you thought like, oh, I don't know anybody that's going to be there, or I think I need to have someone to be my, co-pilot with, and just like, and how exciting and like exhilarating is it to be like, okay, I'm on my own time.
Yes.
I can make my own like choices in this and flow. And the way that you show up in a room is probably different than you would if you were taking someone with you, because now you're subconsciously even thinking about like, well, what do they want to do? Or, is this going to be okay for them? And I love that you just went for it.
Yep. And I have to thank my husband too, because he's like,
encouraging.
Like, okay, I think you're finding reasons to talk yourself out of this.
Oh, I love that.
So why don't you just go? And that's when I was like, okay, well, worst case scenario, I can find some cool shops and be, which again, worst case scenario. It was the best case out of everything, but it was still, that little small fear voice that has gotten quieter, but still does show up in different situations that feel kind of scary and big.
Yeah, and I mean, even that, thinking about like, it's the fear of being seen, being heard, and seeing all of yourself in the scenario that you're in. These are examples of both that. So with the Muse Experience, what felt most confronting about that to you?
I think the two things, being seen, like me seeing myself in front of the camera or like through the lens of that. I think that I hid for a while behind not seeing that version of it, or seeing me. And then also my voice being on the podcast too. Yeah. That was like, it's been so cool to like randomly just listen back to the podcast and be like, oh my gosh, that's me. And I can hear my words and they feel so nourishing and just what I need and what I needed in that space, that I'm like, and I did it. And here I am doing it again.
Yeah.
Like, so cool. Like,
because that was your first podcast you had ever been on, right?
Yep.
Okay. So I love this because, as I always say, I love being people's first. So like hearing like how one, that you went back and listened to it and that you still like go back and find that nourishing for you. So beautiful to hear that. I love that for you. I always encourage people to go back and listen to their coaching calls and stuff. And so many people don't, because they're afraid of hearing themselves and thinking that they're going to sound stupid or uneducated, or like they don't know what they're talking about. And there's so much power in the reverse that ends up happening from the people that actually be courageous and brave enough to just watch it and then give yourself some grace to say like, oh my gosh, actually that was pretty profound. I don't know.
Yes, I totally agree.
Thinking it differently like that.
Yep. And then hearing it too, and hearing it differently, like when there was some parts that I was definitely kind of shaky in it, but the like love I felt like I could show for that version of me. I'm like, thank you for saying yes to that, so I could be here. Because like, if I didn't, and I didn't hit like send or whatever, or like publish for the comment or whatever it was, the email that I sent over to you, like, I'm so grateful for her that did that back in like October or September, so that I could be this person here. Because I don't think I would be.
Well, I mean, we wouldn't be as connected as we are. That was an opportunity for us to get to connect.
Absolutely.
So if you didn't listen to the first interview that I did with Ashley, we first met at where did we first meet? Actually,
Jen's wedding.
At the wedding?
Yep.
Was it okay?
I think
because we weren't at the bachelorette party. I was
Yep.
first like, okay,
Yes.
but I was told about you at the
Yes. And I
bachelorette
was
party. They're
told
like,
about you for years.
you are gonna love her. Like
Yes.
you are gonna actually was it a shower? Were you at the shower? The bridal shower.
Yes. So, because where was that?
Oh no, that's the baby shower I'm thinking of.
Yeah, baby shower went to.
Okay, so the wedding would have been the first time.
Yes.
But yeah, we had a mutual friend that was like, they were like, you have to meet Ashley. You're gonna love her. You guys' energy is gonna be so great together. And I was like, well, don't tell me that she's not here.
Yes.
I'm so mad. I'm like,
Yes.
why isn't she here? So I was super sad that I didn't get to meet you then. And so we did eventually meet, obviously, and got together, and like we're in a full group chat and like staying up with each other in Snapchat and all of that. And then you saw the posts and leaned into that as we are now. So like fast forwarding to where we are today. But I love that, the being heard part of that is a big piece, and it's different for each woman too, like which piece, the coaching where they're like ready to break through and kind of see what's there for their, to change their mindset so that they can move forward. Some it is the photo shoot, they're really seeing themselves. And I know that on the other podcast, you had talked about how you did like a selfie photo shoot before, and it wasn't what you were looking for. So, obviously having someone do your photos is a different kind of being seen as well.
Yes.
So is there anything you'd want to say about that deeper, about being seen like with a photographer that like, did that support you in getting a different perspective?
It did. And I think truly one of the biggest things that, well, obviously you were involved, and there it was like more of like a clicker kind of a thing, like just a remote. But I think how you set it up, that you coached me and made me feel comfortable before I even got there. Because when I had went to the other experience, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't get, there was some email glitch or some communication error that I did not actually get the like, hey, this is how you like set up for your whatever. So I just kind of like showed up and went in a little more blindly. So I was like, okay, where you had laid everything out for me. And it was nice to chat with you before. So like I knew you, but I didn't know you. So I think every part of it was so good, how you have it all like curated for leading up to that session. So it wasn't as scary. It felt more empowering than actually something super. I mean, I was a little bit nervous, but because I'm, you're taking clothes off, and that is something that's a vulnerable space to be in general, even in an intimate relationship, let alone with, nobody there and with a photographer. So, and you made me feel so comfortable that I didn't even like feel like I didn't have clothes on, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I get that. I get that all the time, which is why I know I'm in the direction of my life that I'm supposed to be in, because not everybody has a calming energy to support people in feeling comfortable.
Yes.
And I mean, I've always been the person, like, even when I did the bar scene before, like, people would just tell me depths of their soul stories. Like, I mean, that kind of exposure has always been in my life as the energy of someone that can hold that for other people to like divulge their secrets. And that's the Scorpio in me for sure. But yeah, the actual physical safety of exposing yourself versus, like, I mean, it's true. And now that when you were saying that, I can see how the coaching is really like doing that from the mind, from the inside, right? I'm helping you quote unquote expose or see within you your own truth and light. And then the photo shoot aspect of it is grabbing that and giving you an opportunity to actually see it and confront it in a way that it's like, wow, this is me.
Yes. Yep.
Love that. I love that when you said that, I was like, all right, I see that.
Yes.
I probably felt that before, but like hearing you say that, I was like, okay, I am in my direction.
Yes.
Okay. I think I scrolled too far. Okay. You said if you saw all of yourself, you couldn't hide anymore. what were you afraid you might actually see?
I think I hid so long from so many things,
Yeah.
from my strengths, but also my weaknesses. And visually seeing the picture of me felt like it was going to expose all of that.
Mm.
And it did, but not in the negative way that I had anticipated. Like it did, but then I saw so much like beauty.
Yeah.
And I had so much love, and I have so much love for me now. And I was just actually, before getting ready, I've been doing more mirror work, and I've been doing that before our session, but it was not quite as like powerful.
Yeah.
And my husband was just walking by, and I'm like, oh, I'm just doing my affirmations, and I'm like in my bra and underwear, and now I
love it.
Can confidently, not that I didn't before, but it was scarier to look at myself in the mirror.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, hey, how's it going? And then just do my affirmations, and like it just, I feel like that shyness or that like fear of seeing myself also allowed me to stay hidden from others. Because like if I didn't see me, then they didn't see me. And they couldn't see the flaws because I wasn't showing them, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think it ties
they're
to
out there, they're
authentic
out there.
self too.
Yeah.
Like how you were talking about before that, the way you just said that, I'm like, oh, but it's actually like hiding that authenticity, because when we take that part of us and we mask that, then how are we able to show up and be more fully alive in the being that who we are? Because we're kind of stifling that in a way that, hey, you can't be the whole self.
Yep. And through this, being able to be more in myself and be more authentic, I've found more people that I truly am aligned with. And I know it sounds totally cliche that like, oh, put yourself, but it is so true that like, and I haven't exposed my whole life, but even just little bits and parts of me that I'm like, oh, okay. So it's kind of like that exposure therapy or whatever kind of thing where you put yourself out there and then you put yourself out there and then
I mean,
out there.
It's probably a part of it. Like you see that, like, oh, I'm not as like unique's not the right word, but like we think that it's like, oh my gosh, no one will understand certain things. And it's like, oh, actually, there are people that understand that, even if their experience is different, the feelings that connect us as humans are same. Like we have the same needs for connection, for love. Excuse me, for connection, for love. Those kinds of needs are needing to be met. And we have different experiences, and we're still connected in the way that people can relate to us, and we can connect and build relationships and friendships around our experiences and our needs with what happens. So putting yourself out there, like going to the networking stuff or like the conferences and meeting new people, I mean, that is a form of like hiding or not, like who you are, so that you can find your people, and who you surround yourself with. It does matter, the environment and the people that we surround ourselves with. It matters for us to feel safe, to be more of that authentic stuff, to be heard and seen. So yeah, I love that. Okay, so you mentioned two parts or two huge moments, the reveal and the podcast. What was it like to see yourself in your same day gallery reveal?
It was awesome. I wasn't sure how it was going to be, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe there will be like a handful of pictures. Even if there's just like a couple.
Yeah.
And I was like blown away that I'm like, oh, I have to narrow it down to how many? Like, wait, what? I like that one, that one, that one. And I didn't know what to expect, and I didn't know how it would look. And I was very, very pleasantly surprised. Like so pleasantly surprised.
So would you say that you were more excited or more nervous, like to see the images?
Well, I was definitely more nervous.
Were you?
Yep. I was excited, but a nervous excited.
Okay.
But yeah, once I saw them, I was like, okay, now I'm excited. Like, when can I have these?
Yeah, right. That's can I get them?
Yes.
Well, and I show you pictures as we go along. So how did that feel in the process? Actually, let me ask that. So we take some pictures and I'd show you like, ooh, you got to see this one, just so like I know, how you're feeling about it, and to help you see more of like how I'm seeing you through the lens. Can you speak to that a little bit? How was that? Like being able to see them along the way?
That was super empowering.
Was that helpful?
Yes, that was so, so helpful. Because then I could kind of know that it wasn't like I was just like sitting there looking weird or doing something like,
Face,
yes, super awkward. It was like, oh, wow, okay. Like I may feel awkward posing, but I
Yes.
look hot.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't feel like it, but look at the way I look. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, I really appreciate that you were able to show that because I think that helped me relax and unwind even a little bit more and like I don't want to say
Trust
feel
me.
myself, but feel myself a little bit more too.
Mm-hmm.
And
yourself, yeah, trusting that comes to mind, trusting the process of, okay, she's putting me in like stretching me a little bit into this pose or whatever, but it's working.
yes, yes, yes. Like I don't see what she's seeing, but then I saw it and I was like, oh, I see what you're okay, yeah. There's a reason you're the professional and I'm, and I think that was huge too when I had done the one with just the clicker.
Mm-hmm. The selfie one.
Yep. I didn't know how to pose. I was
Right.
just thinking of how I pose in the mirror.
Yeah.
And then it didn't quite translate to like how I look in the mirror to a photo.
Yeah.
It just wasn't the same. Where then you could put me in the spot
Mm-hmm.
that then I was like, oh, look at the way I look. And that was so much more helpful. And I think that was a part that put me at ease too, that I could, you could do that. And I didn't have to think about that portion as well.
I keep going back to this, and I don't know if I said it in your interview or if you'd remember, but I had a mentor or a friend tell me that it's like a jar. Like we're inside our own jar and our own stuff because we can't see the outside label.
Yes.
And it goes really well with what you're saying about even taking the photo and like you see it one way and then putting it to a professional to like see the details and like uh, also move myself to be at a different angle and get a different perspective. But that goes really well with like when we're in it ourselves, yeah, we can take cute pictures and sexy pictures. Like it's a different level of seeing truly yourself and letting someone else capture that, than just doing it on your own. I love taking my own selfie, like, hey,
yes,
but it's different when someone else is like, is that me?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I think there's a huge difference.
You kind of pushed me out of a little bit more out of the comfort zone with some of the outfits too.
Oh yeah.
That I would like, I had the ones that I had felt like, oh, I think I'll feel comfortable in that. And I did, but then you also were like, oh, let's try these. And I'm like, okay, that sounds good. And they ended up being some of my favorites.
Yeah. Yeah. I always love that aspect of, because it is an extra stretch. You're already like a little nervous. So it's kind of like an extra little push and a nudge to say, well, I mean, you're here.
Yes.
What do you think about stepping out just a little bit more? And if you don't like it, it gets deleted. What does it matter?
Yes.
What do you truly have to lose in the situation other than some limiting beliefs about what's possible for you?
Yes.
So,
yep. And I think that saying limiting beliefs, I feel like that is something that when I was living more in fear, those limiting beliefs were everywhere and they were so loud. And now I'm like, well, I've done this thing. So how hard
what else can I do?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's try it.
Yeah. Okay. And then the other part of that is the hearing. So the podcast. So what was it like hearing yourself? You touched on this a little bit, but more specifically, like what was it like hearing yourself on the podcast, like for the first time, especially because it was your first time on a podcast, like truly, like what was that like for you?
That had a lot of feels to it.
Yeah.
there were some things that I was a little bit more like, not fully like cringe, but like, okay. And then I had to remind myself that it was my first time doing a podcast.
Yeah.
My first time doing anything like this, like an interview type thing.
Yeah.
I maybe have in the past, but in my most recent remembrance. And then I was like, oh, wow, I did good. And like, okay. It was so much more transformational than just being able to hear the words. It was like that I showed up, that I had the confidence to say what I wanted to say. That was speaking about me and my authentic truth.
Yeah.
Not just like, oh, okay, I'll answer a couple questions like vanilla and basic that are like, oh, yeah, okay. Yep, that was my
Yeah. It
experience.
sounds right.
Yes. Yep. Yep. But it was actually, you dug deeper and actually asked me questions that were pertinent and
Mhm.
relatable. And that was just so cool.
Okay. And you told me, I don't know, remember if it was a comment that you made on something, or maybe it was in a DM that you told me like you've been on other podcasts now. Have you went out and like talked more
Not
since then?
not podcasts, but I've
Okay.
been doing more of my breathwork events where
Okay.
I show up in front of groups of people
Oh,
and different groups of people that
okay.
are like last weekend I was at an event that a friend had referred me to them and I knew nobody. And I walked in and I'm like, okay, I got this. And it was different and it was a little bit scary, but I showed up and
Yeah.
I did the best I could. And it was awesome. And it again kind of helped me flex that muscle of like, I can do this.
Mhm.
And I can do this and my voice can be heard. It is worthy of being heard as well.
Mm. Yeah, and you can do it uncomfortable, like
Mhm.
uneasy, unsure, like
Mhm.
all those uns can be there,
Yes.
and you can still do it.
Yep.
You can choose to show up, and I like that you said do your best,
Mhm.
do you
Yes.
in those moments. So it sounds, like you built a little bit more of that muscle up to share your voice and your passions, your
Mhm.
breath work,
Yeah.
on top of that. Okay, you said for too long, I let stories or negative projections keep me from showing up. What changed at that moment?
Um, I think being seen and heard and me hearing myself and seeing myself almost, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
So in not hearing myself, not seeing myself, kind of like retreating from my own self, I didn't know what I sounded like. I didn't know what I looked like, essentially.
Yeah.
And it was empowering to be able to, I don't want to say take the mask off, but kind of, and then show up. And now having that confidence to show up in other places.
Yeah. Keep practicing it. And that's really what it is, right? Just like
Yes.
breath work.
Yes.
It's all a practice.
Yes.
It's all becoming more and more familiar, I'll say. And that's what's building the confidence. It's the confidence in action.
And I have kind of shifted and I've seen this quote that's like progress over perfection. I've seen that for so long and I'm like, oh, okay, well I have to be perfect. And then for what, who, what,
How?
who's, yeah. And like, even if I think I can create this perfect thing, it's not going to be. It's not going to be. And it shows also like the level of control that I tried to have on everything to be able to be like, it has to be perfect. And now I'm like, okay, just like the event last week. Okay, progress. I showed up. Maybe next time it'll be better and better and better because the better it gets, the better it gets. But showing up is progress because past me wouldn't have done that.
One who determines that, who measures it,
Yes.
who's holding the stick of perfection to say how far you are away from perfection though, right? Like, so when I think about, and I am recovering from perfectionism. That's why, I feel like everybody that comes out here is like, oh, this, needs to do the things, right. Which is probably by design. But understanding that we do have more control over our life than we even give ourselves credit for, and that there's choice in that. I choose when I want to stay hidden, and it is a choice if I want to or I'm willing to step out, take that mask off, be seen, be vulnerable, especially in a new place with new people. Everything is unfamiliar, and stepping out in that. But it is the perfection thing. It's like, who are we comparing it to?
Yes.
Because you showing up and doing your best and me showing up and doing my best, those are very different things. So when we say, we have to be perfect, we're actually the ones that are judging.
Yes.
How perfect is it, Ashley? How perfect is it, Becky? Like, what does that mean to us? And then it's like, once we start to shift our mind around that, at least for me, when I shifted my mind around that, it was like, oh, jeez, I have so much more control over remembering that I do have unlimited potential, and my best is different than everybody else's. So step out, step out, and step out. It's those little tiny practices of doing the unfamiliar that strengthen us to say, I'm better than I was the last time. Like you said, going again and going again. It's going to get easier because it's getting more familiar with you showing up as your practice self, to be like, I'm not performing. I'm at ease. All of those things.
I think too, you nailed it. The judgment and the like self-criticism that I had for myself. And that kept me stuck too. Because I think I thought I had to be so curated and like perfect and whatever that looked like, or whatever I thought that looked like, that the image I was creating in my head, I almost never could live up to because it was so poised, whatever, like not real.
It was so Instagram
Yes.
worthy.
Yes. Like edited and like placed perfectly and
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I think that's a huge thing. Like, you're not alone in that. Like, we all are in a society where that's shoved down our throats every second, to think that that is the epitome of like success, or how to be seen in a way that's flashy, and all of the stuff that goes along with that.
Yep.
And you said that your confidence has increased so much. So where do you see that showing up most in your life now? Is it through work, personal life, just everywhere you're showing up? Like, what is that specifically? Where do you see your increased confidence the most?
I think it's like in everyday life, and then it kind of just ripples out throughout. Um, Even just from like showing up, how I show up for myself in the morning, like when I get up.
Yeah.
That's different than just kind of like starting my day.
Yeah.
I'm choosing to start my day the way I want to, instead of kind of letting the day take me, or letting myself fall into whatever the day is.
I hear more intention.
Yes, very much more intention, very much more intention. And then that again ripples out into my business, relationships. I feel like that has been huge too, because I do have more confidence now that my voice is valuable and that I can be heard. And maybe I'll misstep a little bit. And if it's misunderstood, hopefully somebody comes back and is like, hey, I kind of maybe, are we, aligned or whatever with what you said. And just owning my voice and owning my truth as well.
Yeah. So what are you doing today that the old version of Ashley wouldn't have done?
I think showing up intentionally for myself is probably one of the biggest things that's different, because I would just kind of walk into the day or walk into a situation instead of pouring back into myself before I walked into the situation
Mhm.
or went into whatever it was, including work. Like I just kind of like roll out of bed. Oh, I'm gonna figure out my coffee or whatever on the fly, and
Mhm.
then show up at work. Now I'm more like, okay, I want to have a breakfast that'll like sustain me, nourish me,
Mhm.
and maybe I don't need caffeine today. Maybe I do, just being more intentional with like every step instead of just letting it be
Yeah.
whatever it is. And I think
Hmm.
the self-love portion of that and being that I'm actually like taking care of my needs more,
Mhm.
like on a
Yeah.
basic, what do I need each day kind of a thing
You know what?
to function or to be the best version of me that day.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just like,
Yeah.
this is so good because all of these questions that I have on here, it's like it all comes down to that these are all, it's like there isn't a profound one thing.
Mhm.
And what I love about this is that like it's, and this is the unsexy side of things that is like it's the everyday normal routine that got changed over time.
Mhm.
These tiny micro movements that have actually created a giant wave of change in your life. It's just like I can imagine the people listening be like, they're saying the same things on these shows. It's true because it is the small things that you're changing. It sounds so simple and so unprofound, hearing it probably, but it's the truth. It is what matters the most in like being intentional and choosing the way that you want to be in your life. It all starts with identity. Like I could get on a soapbox and just like go for this. I'm like, God, like this is what this is about. Like hearing these true real life stories. Um, Sometimes I feel like I'm looking for this profound moment. It's like I know that that's not the case.
Yes.
It is the very unsexy things of like I have more of a routine for my life and like it's more orderly. It's like, ooh, that's hot. Like,
Yeah. But it is. And
it
I always
is.
thought it was like it had to be this huge thing, like like the Big Bang thing.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden, oh, and then
Big change.
then I was so changed. Like it was this like something came down and I was like, okay, no, this was the moment. And it really, yes, but also no.
Yeah.
Because it's by not showing up for so long, that creates truly such like bad habits or bad thought patterns, where when you do kind of just take those little simple steps over and over and over, it I've learned so much self-trust that like, okay, I did that then, so I can do it now. It's gonna work out because I did it then, and I can keep doing it. And I think I didn't trust myself for a really long time to show up for myself.
Yeah.
So that's huge.
Well,
And I
how
think
could
that,
you
yeah,
when you're hiding your authentic self? Like, how
yep,
could you do that?
yep. So yeah, I always would, and even now I see like quotes or things or people that are like, it's these little things, and I'm like, really? It's got to be a big thing. And I'm like,
Where's
oh,
the sexy?
okay, it is just a little thing. Like,
It is those little things, those small movements, literally micro movements to make massive change in your life. And I love that you're like driving home the starting your day
mhm,
because I mean, it is the way that we start our day is how we move through, unless we change the pattern intentionally at some point in the day too. Like, and then for me, it takes more work if I don't do it right away in the morning. Like, then it's like, okay, now what?
yes.
And then come back to self from there, and it's possible, but it does feel like more work, at least for me, to
And
do it later.
I like to experiment with myself because it's fun. Like, okay, this was working. Let's see if I don't do that. Let's see what happens. And like
So
even
daring.
recently, like I've had more of like a routine, which routines have always felt so like structured
Yeah.
and like too much for me. But I'm like, okay, well, I also work on a schedule at work,
Right.
and that works and it flows.
Yeah.
So maybe I should just keep that. But And I give myself grace. So some days, yes, maybe I do something different or change it up a
Right.
little bit. But I find when I don't do those little habits that feel so nourishing, it actually, or kind of go back to some old patterns that maybe weren't quite serving. It, I don't want to say it throws off my whole day, but it really does kind of throw a wrench in a big portion of my day and how that continues to evolve because I didn't pour into myself. So then I'm not able to pour as fully into those that I work on, whether it's energy work or hair too.
Mhm.
Like I'm already feeling depleted because I didn't fill my bucket before I started passing everything out.
Mhm. Yeah, that makes sense. The way that we show up,
Mhm.
and it does start with us, the connection, the energy. It starts with us, like how we connect and give ourselves energy because we only have so much to give in a day.
Yes.
So making sure that we're filling ourselves up with energy and then going out and dispersing it from there is, I mean, so cliche, so boring to hear, but so true.
Yeah, it
So
is.
true. So, okay, you said you're now showing up in spaces that would have caused crippling anxiety before. What does it feel like now? Talk about the feeling.
It feels more empowering and it feels so like good to be able to show in those spaces or places. Like last weekend, that event,
Mm-hmm.
past versions of me would have been like, I'm not showing up to that. I'm not even gonna entertain that. Like, no, thank you, I'm good. And yeah, I was like so proud of myself that I did it. I showed up. I'm doing it. And again, going back to that progress over perfection. I have a lot of learning to do in things. And I think that's the beautiful thing by putting yourself out there. You're able to learn what you do or don't need in the future, or how you can maybe be the better version of yourself
Mm-hmm.
in the next steps or in the next time that you show up like that.
Yeah.
And instead, I would have ran all kinds of stories about how it wouldn't work
Mm-hmm.
or that I just shouldn't even try
Mm-hmm.
to show up.
And I love that you have a partner that recognized that too. And he was like, let's just stop this.
Yes.
And I'm hearing more of like, you need to just go.
Yep.
And so giving the support, we need to surround ourselves or have people in our lives that are the person that can stop us because we're not always going to be aware,
Mhm.
and awareness is the first step. We have, like you've said a couple times, well, we don't know what we don't know.
Yep.
So a lot of the times we don't know that we're reeling on these things or that we're in these overthinking patterns or the perfectionism showing up. And, the people that are close to us or that are really like good at listening in general, it's like, oh yeah, you're doing that thing again. Let's just make a decision
Yep.
and then move from there. Because a lot of the times I think that we're in decision fatigue and we're going with the day. And
Yes.
it's like that's where we get the anxiety that's like, okay, I can't do this one next thing because it's just I'm done.
Yes. And I think showing up for myself in the morning too, that reminds me of what you just said. I don't have as much decision fatigue
Yeah.
because I already know how I set myself up starting in the morning. So then I want to keep on that track. So
Mhm.
then it's more like, well, that doesn't align. This does. And that's not quite working. This is going to work. And sometimes you're not able to like make everything work the way you want to. But how I respond instead of
Mhm.
react is a big thing too, with setting myself up for success.
I love
Truly.
that. I have a real life example even last night because today I traveled here to do this podcast and I also did one in my home studio in the morning. And so that's more energy output in different ways that I normally would give out. And so even my routine even starts the night before.
Sure. Yeah.
So I picked out my dress and like hung up my blazer and I didn't plan my food accordingly because I'm doing a detox and I forgot that part needed to be more organized. But right, like I know that I would have been even more chaotic today if I wouldn't have at least picked out my outfit for the next day to have some kind of a plan of next steps, especially when I can look at my calendar to see like the output that's going to be there, and to support myself with, you know, how can I feel more in control of my day and less decisions being made in those moments? Because, oh my gosh, when we're in the moment, we
Yes.
want the fast, we want the easy, and we want it now.
Yep. And I found and find in my life, sometimes when I get busy, I find myself checking into more autopilot
Oh, for sure.
and just kind of like moving through motions. And with setting intention in the morning, I don't have to just be on autopilot. I can actually make some of those decisions. But yes, you're totally right. Setting it up however you need to
Mhm.
so that you show up the way you want to.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Need to, so that you can show up how you want to. And that's a huge thing, you know, and it just in my own personal growth that I've realized, like, it actually starts for me the night before so that I can go to bed easier.
Yep.
So I'm not thinking about it at bedtime.
Yes.
Get the stuff ready that I can
Yep.
ahead of time and be more prepared for less decisions the next day. I got a quota, and that's, it gets met fast of how
Yes.
many.
Yes.
Okay, so you said, well, and you were already talking about this, the self-trust and the self-worth, and how that's grown stronger in that muscle for you. So how do you know you can trust yourself now? How do you know that's grown, specifically the trust for you?
Um, I have like all kinds of evidence of how it has grown. So like that proof collecting, like, is it gonna work? Is it gonna work? I'm like, oh yeah, it has.
Look at that, it worked.
It works. It works. It works. And if I keep doing it, it's gonna keep working, you know? And if not, it's a learning experience of how I can be better or do better in the future as well.
Mhm.
And just knowing that I got me and I don't have to like outsource that, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Because
Well, and we
sometimes I
can have
was
support.
outsourced. Yeah.
Yeah, and we can have those things, but you're right. It's a Ashley feeling strong and knowing that you probably have key players in your life that you can look to,
Mhm.
your husband, for example, to give some, you know, extra strength to when that's needed and when you are depleted. I'm rhyming.
And the cat and the hat.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, you said something that gave me a chill.